channel. So today we're going to do a fun little project and I'm going to explain you what I've got here and what I'm going to be doing with it. So first of all, we've got a print of the moon. This is what we're going to be making, but we're going to be making it in 3D. I saw something on Instagram and I'm going to link it up here somewhere. I'll show you what it looks like, but it was a really big moon on a wall, but it was 3D and it was lit with lights from the side. So I thought I want to try and make that in a smaller version. So what I got is one of my old paintings. It's one I did a while ago, and I decided I'm going to use the back and I'm going to be putting some LED lights on the inside. So that's going to be my lighting source. Not sure if it's going to fit the whole box, but maybe we have to make it work somehow. So that's our base, and the material I'm going to be using is some modeling plaster. I've never used it before, but they say it's for handicrafting, so why not? I bought this 1.5 kilo bag from the Action and it was like €1.30. It was really cheap because I already had bought this one, but this was like €6. And so €6 or 130, and this is even more. So I'm going to try the cheaper one first. We can always try the more expensive one, but I really like to see how this one is going to work. And with that, I'm also going to be using some of the paste I used for my texture painting. I think it's still good, otherwise I have to make some more. The PVA glue we're going to be using, and yeah, I think that's about, well, yeah, and tools, and I think like a bag or something, but we need to start and prep our base. And why I printed this out is because I want to know where the crater is going to be. This is about the size it's going to be, so I'm going to trace some of the craters, turn it over, trace it on the back, and well, I'll just show you. So let's start by marking out the craters I really want to emphasize. So I think I would like this shape, and I think this one. It's an abstract art, so please don't come at me that it's not gonna look exactly like the moon. Like the really small ones, I don't even think you're gonna be seeing. And it's going to be textured all over, so it's just going to be like roughly the main parts I want to work up and like make a real rim so it stands out. I don't want to overdo it. I think I'm happy with this. Maybe one more. I think that's gonna look fine. So now I'm gonna trace these on the back, and I'm gonna take a soft pencil. This is a B5. I'm gonna turn on my light board, flip this, and turn off my lights. Otherwise I'm not gonna be able to see. And I'm just going to trace these onto the back side. And I have to not forget that I need to do the general shape as well. Could also just cut it out, but I think this will work fine as well. Okay, and now we have to just transfer this to my canvas. So I just stuck it on the inside of my canvas, and all I'm going to do is just trace the lines that I just put the graphite on the backside, and that should potentially transfer the design to the canvas. And I'm using just a ballpoint pen because that way I won't ruin the paper because it rolls over it instead of a pencil that might actually scratch the paper, so it wouldn't work as well. And I like to use a colored one so I can see what I'm actually doing, which one I already did. I am pushing quite hard, so I'll just be tracing it. I'm not gonna bore you with the rest. And then I'm probably gonna mix up the plaster and prepare a little piping bag. Let me finish this and I'll get back to you when it's done. So I think I've got everything prepped. I'm really nervous because you only have 10 minutes of work time. So what I did, I mixed up a little bit of water and PVA, and I've got some extra water on the side as well to clean my brushes with, as to add for my mixture. So it's a 2 to 1, so 2 parts plaster, 1 part water. I think this is the right amount. It's all a bit of a gamble, but let's just try it. I also prepped a bag. I didn't cut a corner off yet, but that's what I was thinking of doing. But I thought I better open it because it's not gonna work one-handed. Okay, that was way too much water, not enough plaster, like clearly. So let's get some more plaster before it's too late. This stuff is really messy, so be careful. Don't want it too thick, but I certainly don't want it to be really thin. I could keep it this consistency and wait for a little bit for it to start hardening, but I think I might just add a little bit more. I'm actually shaking. It's that nerve-wracking. I should have just tested it out before I went for it. And I know that they say not to add any more water once it starts hardening. I think I'm already like on minute 2. Okay, I think this is going to be okay to put in the bag. So let's just try and get it in. Okay, that will have to do. So I think it's really runny, maybe a little bit too runny. I'm like, should I wait or should I just... I can always scrape it off. I'm just gonna try this. So I'm just going to cut off a really tiny corner. So what I wanted to do is pipe around these marks I made. Just going to try get it on the outside of those lines, and then the second line is where I want to smooth it out to, and it doesn't need to be perfect. It's abstract art. I'm so nervous. I think it's taking too long. It's going to dry on me. Okay, it is already drying, but it's not as hard as I thought it would be right now, so that's good. And there's going to be a layer on top of this. I'm going to add a layer of the texture paste on top. So that's going to add texture as well. So if some areas are a little bit too smooth, that doesn't matter. I feel like some areas need some more. This is, however, very satisfying to do. Okay, let's just leave it at that and start smoothing it down. I think I'm going to use the smaller brush and I'm going to make it really wet. I'm just going to push the sides down. I'm really trying to push it onto the canvas. So it's going to really stick to it. The paint layer on top is going to help as well to adhere it. And of course the PVA glue I put into it. Let me get my cake spinner. I think this is going to help me make this a lot easier. I'm very excited to see how this is going to work out, because the one I saw on Instagram, like, that was so amazing. It was huge, so let's keep that in mind. This is tiny compared to that because that was on a whole wall. It is starting to really dry. I'm going to have to hurry now, which I didn't want to do, but and I put way too much over here. As long as it's on the thicker side, it stays soft. The moment you push it down and it starts to dry really quickly. Let's see if I can smooth it to the inside as well. There's always an option to do another layer, so you can build it, but I'll just keep working on this and I'll show you it tomorrow when this layer is dry. So the gypsum is basically dry. I don't know why it's two different colors, but it's dry. So I got this paste I made for a different piece. I will link it up in the eye or down below in the description. And it's basically latex paint with water and some cornstarch. And I want to try and give this some texture, and I don't think I need a lot. I'm just going to paint over it, just a really thin layer. And I'm not going to go outside of the circle because I'm going to be painting that part, I think, black. But I do want to have a nice texture all over. And I think the sand is going to give me that. And I am going to be painting it in different grays just to help it get that 3D look. Because as you can see, the moment I start painting it white, it goes flat. So I'll just cover the whole moon area with this paste. I don't know if you can see it. It's just a little bit grainy. I only need like a tiny amount, but I do want to cover everything because I mostly want to get rid of this canvas. So let me show you up close. So as you can see, I've got some canvas in here. And I'm just going to cover it with that texture. And you can immediately see the difference between the two. So what I'm doing is now adding a little bit more texture with the same texture paint by just dabbing it. And I'm looking at the picture I used to design this. I'm just looking where it is more textured. I'm just adding a little bit of that texture in with the paste. Needs a little bit more here. You just push and pull. And if you need a little bit more, you just add some on top. So it's just giving that a little bit of extra. Here it's really flat and here you've got a lot of texture. So in my picture, this part is dark and then this part is light again. So let me show you. So this part here is light. That's this area. So I'm just adding more texture to that spot like so. And I'll just do that for the whole moon and let it dry. So this is all nice and dry and I have been working on carving out a little space for my battery pack. And I'm also took almost half of it off. Otherwise it's not going to fit, but for now I think this is the best I'm going to be able to do. So hopefully we can get it to look nice, but just a tip, if you buy something, make sure there's enough room for the battery. But for now we're going to be painting the moon, and I just got a couple of colors in this bit of plastic, and it's the Amsterdam Oxide Black and the Titanium White. And I've got a little bit of blue, I don't know which color. So I'm going to just take a bit of water, and I think I just need like a tiny bit of color and a lot of water. And I better start with just mixing some white and the tiniest bit of black, because a little bit goes a very long way. A little bit darker, and I want a little bit of the blue just to give it a little bit more of a cool toned look. So let's just start by painting some of the insides here, and I'm probably gonna dry brush with white over it, but for now I'm just going to darken up these areas. Most of the shadows we're going to get with the lighting, but just to get the effect a little bit more clearly, I decided to paint it. And I think the Korean artist I saw on Instagram does the same. So again, I'm just copying a little bit because I really loved her idea. So let's make a little bit more color. And as you can see, you don't really need that much. Here's the design. And I'm just going to put it up here. I'm just going to roughly use that as a guide. And I'll just be painting all the gray areas first. So I'm just going to take a piece of paper, a dry, little bit fluffy brush, and some white. Just going to dab it in the white and go over the piece of paper. And then just going to run it over the surface. But a couple of the areas are really light, so do those areas first. So it's not a huge difference, but I'll keep building and you'll see it gives a lot of texture. But for now I'm going to let everything dry and then I'm going to go over it with the white. In the meantime, I think I'm going to paint the whole background black, just using the oxide black. At first I thought let's make it like a blue, but to hide the electrics and everything, I think black is better. Should have probably put some gesso on first, but I'm just gonna put a lot of black on here, maybe do 2 coats. It doesn't need to be perfect because I'm going to put a cover on the front, so that's going to be the next thing we need to make. But first let's finish all the painting. So it's time to put the lights in, and I just added a little bit of foam on the sides because it makes it easier to stick the lights to. I also took a little bit of the wood away in the corners, so this sits up like so. But it's time to glue this on. I should be just able to remove this tape, and hopefully it will just stick to the styrofoam. I'm just going to make sure this is in the right area. Then I'm just gonna start putting it as close to the bottom as I can go, and I'll just stick it all the way around. And I'm not going all the way into the corners because then the light is going to be too far away. Got a hair. It's looking like it's going to stick perfectly fine. And LEDs don't get really hot, so that's also a good thing to know. So it's also quite safe to do it this way. And yes, I'm blocking the view of the moon because I don't want to spoil the surprise. I'm just going to try and take this out of the way. So it might get a little bit more light from here. I don't want to cut it. I'll just stick the last little piece here. I should be able to still smoosh this in. Barely, but I think we're going to be just barely getting it in, but yeah. I'm gonna put in the batteries and then I'm going to glue on the top just with some hot glue, and then it's time for the final reveal. I really love how it looks in the daylight, but when it gets dark and you put on the light, it just is magical. I really think the combination of all these techniques makes this work so well. This would make the perfect nightlight for a child's bedroom. I would love to know what you think about it. Please let me know down below in the comments. If you enjoy my content, please leave a like. It really supports this channel. I would love to see you here again, so please subscribe. But for now, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye everyone!